Now let us discuss what are the characteristics of inventory model. The inventory model will be characterized by the three ways. The first one is dependent and independent demand item. Right? We have two types of demand item. One is the dependent demand item, another one is the independent demand item. Dependent demand item means demand of these items are directly related, or you can say are directly depending upon the demand of any other item. Right? If the demand of one item is directly proportional or directly depending upon the demand of some another item, then it is known as dependent demand item. And independent demand item means demand of these items are not directly depend on demand of other items. Right? The demand of these items are not depending upon any other item, and for the dependent it is directly depending upon the demand of some other item. For example, if we can say, let us say that for any 1 month, let us say the demand of cars is 20 cars per day. Right? The demand of cars for 1 day is 20 cars, let us say. Right? If the demand for 1 day, the demand for cars is 20 cars, so corresponding to this, let us say for one car we need 5 tires, right? 4 tires and one as a spare. So for 20 cars we need 100 tires per day. The industry which is manufacturing the tires will have to make the tire with the rate of 100 tire per day, right? Minimum, because the car demand is 20 cars per day. So we can say that the demand of this 100 tires per day is depending upon the demand of car. If there is no demand for the car, then obviously there is no demand for the tire. We are keeping the wear and tear of tire or changing of tire side, right? We are only thinking that if the car is manufactured, then only tire will be required. So the demand of the tire is directly depending upon the demand for the car. So we can say that this is your dependent demand item. This is your dependent demand item, because it is depending upon the demand of car. Dependent demand item. But the demand for the car is not depending upon the demand of tires. Right? The demand for car is completely independent. This is completely independent. The demand for the cars are completely independent. So we can say that for the dependent demand item, if this is a dependent demand item, then the problem of these dependent demand item can be solved with the help of MRP. Right? MRP is manufacturing resource planning. Right? We will discuss this manufacturing resource planning. So manufacturing resource planning, the subject of manufacturing resource planning will deal with those items whose demands are depending on some another items. Right? So but for the independent demand item, because these are independent, so for that, if you need to analyze the demand of this independent demand item, we need to go for forecasting. Right? Forecasting is in the syllabus of GATE. So forecasting chapter will deal with those items whose demands are independent, and MRP will be dealing with those items whose demands are dependent on the demand of some other items. Right? These are the dependent and independent demand item. Now, second characteristic of inventory system is your review system. Right? Review system. What do we mean by review system? If I say in brief that what do we mean by a review system is that you need to keep an eye on your demand and the amount of inventory you want to keep. right? Suppose your demand rate, you know, right? Review system means that how frequently you are reviewing your inventory stock, right? You have to keep some inventory stock. Suppose you say that I need the 100 units of inventory at one point of time. So you want to keep an eye on the inventory level, and you can say that if the inventory level will be reaching a limit of 50 units, then I have to reorder, right? You have to keep an eye on the inventory level, and you have to review your inventory stock. And the reviewing of the inventory stock, that review system is of two types. First one is queue system. We are saying that it is queue or fixed order system. This is important. It is fixed order system. The order which you are placing for an inventory is fixed. Or reorder point system, right? You already know that when you have to place an order, or it is also known as two bin system, right? Where various names are there: queue system, fixed order system, or reorder point system, or two bin system, right? So if I can say that in the queue system or fixed order system, if the inventory level reaches the reorder point, a fresh order is placed for a specified quantity at that point of the time, right? We can say that in this review system, in this queue system or in this review system, we can say that the size of order is fixed. Size of order is fixed. Size of order is fixed. You know that how much will be the size of the order, but in this system the time of order is variable. In this system the time of order is variable, right? You don't know that what will be the time of reordering, but you know that when you place an order, what will be the size of the order. Suppose if I can say that, let us say that for an example, suppose the demand rate, small d, will be the demand rate. Let us say demand rate will be 10 units per day, right? Let us suppose that the demand will be 10 units per day and the lead time will be 5 days. What do we mean by lead time? Lead time is the time between when you are placing an order and when you receive the order. The time between this placing of an order and receive the order is known as lead time, right? Suppose today you place an order and after 5 days you are getting that order at your factory, at your doorstep, then that time of 5 days is the lead time. Let us say lead time is 5 days. So we can say that reorder level, ROL is reorder level, right? Reorder level. Reorder level is your lead time into demand for 1 day, that will be 50 units. That will be 50 units, right? Reorder level is lead time into demand rate. Why? Because we can say that you want to place an order. You know that when I have to place an order, when the quantity in your hand is 50 units. When the quantity in your hand is 50 units, you place an order for the next, right? Now, why 50 units? Because today you place an order. Let us say today you will reach to the 50 units. Then if today you place an order, then after 5 days you will get the new shipment, and within this 5 days your demand rate is 10, then you can consume these 50 units. So the reorder level in that case is 50 units, right? So we can say that now suppose the order quantity is, let us say, 500 units per order. Okay, this is fixed. This is fixed, that 500 units per order. So what you are doing in the queue system, that you can think like this: you have two bins in which you know that in first bin you have 450 units, in second bin you have 50 units, right? whenever you consumed these 450 units, when these 450 units will be consumed, then you placed an order after this, and meanwhile you consume these 50 units, and after 5 days you will get another 500 units. Another 500 units you will get after 5 days, right? So in this case, this reorder value, this reorder amount is fixed, right? The size of order is fixed, that if you place an order, then the order will be of 500 units fixed. This order amount will be fixed, that is 500. Always you plan for 500 units only. But when you place an order, it will depend upon the consumption rate. Suppose here I am taking the demand is constant, but demand will fluctuate, demand will vary. So if the demand will vary, then suppose in 1 month this 450 units will consumed in 20 days. In the next month, this 450 units will be consumed in, let us say, 25 days. So then after 25 days you place an order, but in the earlier month you place an order with the 20 days, after 20 days. So the time is fluctuating, but whenever your inventory level reaches 50, you place an order of 500 units, right? So the amount, the quantity, the reorder quantity is fixed, that is 500, but time is variable, time is not fixed. Whereas in case of your P system, if I write, in case of your P system, second one is P system. P system is also known as, second one is your, I'll write here. Second is your P system. P system or periodic review system or fixed period system, right? Or fixed period system. In this case, as the name suggests, it is periodic review. You fixed a period that after that you can say that at every month, on 20th of every month you make a review of your inventory, right? So in this case of P system, the inventory level is reviewed after a fixed period of time, right? After a fixed period of time your inventory level is reviewed and fresh order is placed at that point. So if let us say you fix the 20th of every month, so every month you reviewed the inventory level and you placed the order at the 20th itself, you place the order. So in this case we can say that in this case, if we talk about, in this case the time of order is fixed, time of reorder is fixed, time is fixed, that on every 20th of every month you order it, you place an order. But we can say that in this case size of order is variable, size of order is variable, size of order is variable, right? Suppose every month you want to maintain a inventory of 500 units, right? Now suppose we can say on the 20th of first month, let us say the amount, the unit will be, the inventory level which is in your hand is 100 units. So you have to place the indent of 400 units. But in the next month, let us say if the inventory at your hand is 150, then you have to place an order for your 350 units, right? So if you maintain a 500 units, then the demand is fluctuating. So there may be the case that your inventory at 1 month will exhaust very frequently at a very higher rate, but in another month the demand is less, so the consumption of inventory is less. But in this case of P review system, your time of reorder is fixed, time of reorder is fixed, but the size of reorder is variable. The requirement on that day of review, you only place an order of that requirement only, not for the 500 quantity, but as per the condition of the inventory at that specific point, right? It is known as P system. So there is another third system is also there, that is known as, third system is also there. If I write here, third system is also known as, which is known as SS system. SS system. This SS SS system is combination of both. SS system is your combination of both P and Q. Right? This is a combination of both P and Q. That means you can say that my reorder level is 50 units. Right? I will reorder when the quantity at your hand will be 50 units, and my reorder point is, let us say, 45 or 40 days, whichever is earlier. Like suppose on the 35 days after suppose today you will receive one inventory of 500 units. After 35 days your reorder level, your inventory stock will be 50 units. Then you will reach this 50 units level. Then on the 35 days only you have to place an order of 500 units. Right? But suppose today you get a 500 units, and at the end of the 40 days, after 40 days, the inventory level is, let us say, 100 units. Right? 100 units. But you reach this point 40 days, then you have to place an order for 400 units. Right? So whichever is earlier. If this comes first, then you have to place an order, and if this comes first, then you have to place an order. This is known as SS system, which is a combination of both P and Q system. Right? Next one is the third characteristics which we want to discuss here is, third characteristic is your deterministic and probabilistic inventory model. This is important, we have to discuss this. Deterministic and probabilistic inventory model. Deterministic model means, in this deterministic model, the demand rate, the rate of demand, and the lead time will always remain constant. Right? Lead time will always remain constant. This is not a real situation, but we are assuming that in the deterministic and probabilistic model, my demand rate and lead time will be constant. Lead time constant means, suppose if there is a 5 days of lead time, the lead time is of 5 days, then this 5 days will remain constant. But in actual condition, this lead time will not be constant, right? Because it will depend upon so much conditions, right? Whether your weather condition, if it rains, then let us say you are using the road transport or rail transport, then some of the uncertainties will be there, and the time which it will take to reach the inventory to you, it may go more, right? It may take long time. So but in the deterministic model, we can say that the demand rate and lead time remain constant. So if this is the situation, then there is no need to carry safety stock, right? Why you need to carry safety stock? Safety stock will be carried only when the lead time and the demand rate is fluctuating, right? So you have to keep some buffer stock to maintain that uncertain demand. Suppose at a particular day the demand of one item will go higher, very high. Then you have to keep that buffer stock so that you can meet that demand. But if you know the demand rate is constant, that means the 10 units will be sold every day, that there is a demand of 10 units every day, right? It is constant. Then you need not to keep a stock, and you know that lead time is constant, that is, let us say, 4 days. So when the units available with you is 40 units, place an order. After 4 days you will get a new stock and the demand rate is constant, then there is no need to carry this buffer stock, right? So this is the deterministic model. But in actual condition, in real time condition, we have this probabilistic inventory model in which demand rate and lead time are variable, right? Obviously demand rate and lead time is not constant, right? Demand rate is fluctuating very frequently. Suppose today you have 10 units per day demand, but let us say tomorrow you have 20 units. It may fluctuate, and lead time will also fluctuate. If these are fluctuating, then you have to carry the buffer stock, safety stock or buffer stock, so that suppose instead of 5 days the lead time will go 10 days. So for that 5 days you need to keep that buffer stock so that you can meet the demand on those 5 days. So in probabilistic model we need to carry the safety stock, because in this case demand rate and lead time are variable. But in the deterministic model, this lead time and demand rate are constant, so there is no need for safety or buffer stock. So these are the three characteristics of the inventory model, right? First one is your dependent and independent demand item. Second one is your review system, Q system and P system. And third one is your deterministic and probabilistic inventory model. So these are the basic theory part of the inventory. Now let us discuss some of the important inventory models. First we will go with the deterministic inventory model, then we will go with the probabilistic inventory model.